You are listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. We are here on Sutton Lawn to celebrate 80 years of VE Day, Victory in Europe. 50 years ago today, the war ended for Europe in the VE Day. So we're at an event here. We've got, about 5-6 primary schools here. They're going to be singing later on. We've got a fire engine here. We've got ATTFE here, and Takeover Radio will be representing. We're going to try and get some interviews with the Lord Lieutenant of Nottinghamshire, the High Sheriff of Nottinghamshire, and as many Deputy Lieutenants of Nottinghamshire we can. So stay tuned for more on this event.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So you are listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. We are here at the VE event for ATTFE on Sutton Lawn, and I'm here with Principal Liz Barrett and Deputy Lieutenant of Nottinghamshire, Liz Barrett. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Welcome to Takeover Radio. So I've got a few questions. I'm just going to ask you one of them here. So VE Day in 1945 represented both an end to the European conflict and the beginning of a massive rebuilding effort. Looking at Nottinghamshire today, 80 years later, what legacy of that post-war reconstruction period do you see shaping our communities?
Oh, that's a very good question indeed. So at the core of the ATTFE college strategy is #InThisTogether. And actually, back in the war, working together as a team and supporting each other, families coming together, communities coming together to help each other in moments of grief or in celebration was really critical. And I'd like to think that through the work we're doing in ATTFE College with stakeholders and partners, that we are continuing that really good ethos of being together, making resources go further, supporting each other and empowering each other.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Thanks ever so much. So we're going back to some music now, and then we'll be back in the event in a little while. You are listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. I'm here at the ATTFE VE Day celebration on Sutton Lawn, and I'm here with Ben Lukovsky.
Yeah, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Did I pronounce that right?
Yes,
Ben Lukovsky.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ben Lukovsky is an Invictus Games champion. He's got his bling around his neck now. He's got the 2 gold medals. Can you tell us a little bit about the Invictus Games and how you get involved with the Invictus Games?
Yeah, so simple story. Was injured in a vehicle accident while serving in the Marines, and part of my recovery was getting involved with sport because I really struggled to figure out what was going on with me. But sport was kind of my release. And one thing that was been set up was that the guys, after my crash, after my injuries, the guys had come back from the Dusseldorf games, and it was something I really wanted to get involved in. And the rest was history. I just signed up and went to the training.
Wow. So you were a Royal Marine.
Yeah.
Royal Marine then. So how long did you serve in the Royal Marines?
19 years.
And you saw some active service as well?
Yeah. So I did 4 tours of Afghanistan. I went to Ukraine and out to Iraq as well.
Ukraine in this, not in this current conflict.
No. I set I set up a survival school out there.
Okay. So you are, and you just told me you're originally from Sherwood.
Yeah.
Sherwood, but now you live in Hucknall. So
Yes.
you are an Ashfield resident.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got some questions here. So Ashfield has a proud mining and textiles heritage that contributed significantly to the war effort. Did any of your relatives work in these industries during wartime, and what have you heard about their contributions?
Yes, actually, my grandparents are all from Poland, and they came and settled in the UK after the war. And when my grandparents settled, one of the jobs they did was working in the mines.
It's a big mine. So, I don't know. Are your grandparents still with us?
No, unfortunately not.
So they because Poland was one of the first countries to be occupied during the World War II, wasn't it? So did your grandparents, did they serve in Poland in the military over there, or?
Yeah. So on my mum's side, my granddad was a paratrooper, and on my dad's side, my granddad, he got shot in Monte Cassino. So he's got a ring made out of that. Unfortunately, while they were alive, I was a bit of an ignorant teenager, so I wasn't really interested at the time. Which is a bit of a shame, like now, because I regret it.
It's something you're really proud of now, and you've continued that military tradition then through your own service too.
Yeah, exactly, and it's something I've always like. I think there is a part of you that you feel like you want to contribute, or you want to deliver a service, and in my head what I could do was join the military.
Okay, so we answered that a little bit there. So what personal connections to the VE celebration, and why did you feel it was important to come out and be part of this community event today? I know you were invited, but is this like celebrating something like this really something that is important to you from your military background and for being proud to be British?
Massively. I think it's something that like we need to keep. We need to, like, a lot of things can get lost from generation to generation. I'm lucky that I understood like what happened in the wars because my grandparents were around. But now there is a potential that like the learnings of war, like both positive and negative, might get lost if we don't come back to it.
It's the truth. Lest we forget, isn't it? It's kind of there's quite a bit of conflict in the world at the moment, isn't there? And it was like in the Second World War was tyrants. They rose up, and people followed them, and they led them into what happened there. And I think there is the possibility of that happening in the world. Without mentioning any names or anything, there's a possibility of that happening in the world again. So lest we forget.
Massively, and you can't forget that personal sacrifice, that personal service that actual like people like even younger, like 16, 17, just went out and did their duty for their country.
Thanks ever so much. So you are listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. We're still here at this VE Day celebration here on Sutton Lawn, and I'm here with Anita, who is a governor for ATTFE in Sutton. Hi, Anita.
Hello, Ken. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Are you enjoying the event so far?
These children are amazing. I've loved watching them dance and sing. It's been brilliant.
It's inspiration. It is. It's like there's so much possibility in front of them. We want to make sure that...
And the reception they gave Ben as well, they were so excited to see the Invictus Games gold medal winner. It was fantastic.
That's some serious medals he's got on there. We had an interview with him earlier. Okay, so I've got a few questions, Anita.
Okay.
So, what's your personal connection to this VE Day celebration, and why did you feel it was important to come out and be part of this community event here in Ashfield today?
So personal connections for me, my mum's dad was the Princess Patricia Regiment Canadian Infantry, and he fought at Monte Cassino. He survived that. Lots of his comrades didn't. Her other father also was in the military, so I've got two grandfathers who both fought in World War II, and I commemorate usually at my parish church in Shirebrook, so I know where all the war dead of Shirebrook are buried. And last year I've started curating a book about the war dead. So I'm going around photographing all the graves, leaving flowers, leaving poppies, and what I'm going to do is curate a book and leave them in all the churches and all the schools in the parish of Shirebrook. So a friend of mine, Doreen Willerton, who recently died at the age of just before 101, I went to visit her brother-in-law's grave at Bayeux Cemetery, which is one of the largest cemeteries in France, and paid my tributes to Ernest Willerton, as he's called, and many of the men who fought in World War II. Specifically, the Normandy Memorial is just magnificent. So I had to dash over last year when they did the Walking with Giants installation. I needed to see it before they dismantled it. And as I walked along in front of the Normandy Memorial with the Standing with Giants, I picked off a few names. And as I visited the various cemeteries, I laid flowers at graves of those men who were commemorated also at Normandy Memorial. So we were brought up to respect the military. My older brother served in the Royal Corps of Signals. He served in Bosnia, Kosovo, Northern Ireland. My younger brother was RAF, served in the First Gulf War. My sister was RAF, served in the Second Gulf War. I served with her. I've also served in Afghanistan on 2 tours of duty. So we come from a very military family. And I just want to pay my respects to the veterans of World War II and World War I. Without those boys and girls doing what they did, we wouldn't live in the freedom and democracy that we enjoy today. So I salute each and every one of them.
Too true. Thanks ever so much. Thanks ever so much, Anita. Thank you.
Hello, this is Mitchell Ramo-Jenkinson with Takeover Radio. I'm interviewing
Darren Ellis.
I'm going to ask Darren Ellis how many streets in Sutton in Ashfield, Kirkby in Ashfield and Hucknall held street parties to celebrate VE Day in 1945. What do you think these celebrations meant to the local people after years of wartime restrictions, and how does that compare to today's commemoration?
It compares completely differently, because you can imagine at the time they've been through war from 1939 to 1945. As you said, rationing was on. They got very little food. And the thing that surprised me about it as well is the outpouring of emotion, of relief, of happiness, but also tinged with sadness, I think. And then you think about the fact that because they were on rationing as well, they'd all had to club their rations together for that particular day and held them all together, bought their own tables and chairs out. You can imagine everything was fun and happiness, and people would, it was almost like a lot of letting off steam because they'd been so worried and so, they were scared actually about what was going to happen. And then obviously today, you've got this outpouring of tradition, of nationality, and they're very proud people, and it's great to see the local children as well getting involved, because don't forget, the children now have a lot more than what the children of 1945 did. And
big difference.
But in a way you can also see that they do share a lot of things in common. The younger generation trying to make a new future for us both. And I think, taking it all back, I think that's how it compares for me. The fact that they were trying to rebuild something after the war, and obviously we've just been through COVID, and the children now are rebuilding their lives, looking forward to their futures. And I think that's what this in comparison to me, I think that's what this is all about. It's wonderful to see them all, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. There's been some tough times on both ends of the
well, yeah, like I say, because the wartime stuff is one thing.
Yeah.
But in a way, COVID was like that because people were locked away, they couldn't socialise.
A big social impact.
Massive social impact. So there will have some type of understanding of how the children then would have suffered. And I have spoken to quite a few of the children the last few weeks, and they were telling me they're learning about the childhood evacuees and things like that, and they've learnt all about how they were evacuated from major cities into places like this. I've got a friend who was evacuated here from Birmingham, and he's still living here now, and he's still got his Birmingham accent, and he's a real oracle of, what really happened. He lived it all. He got his little suitcase with a little label on, and it came to this place, and he must have thought, where am I? What am I doing? He knew nobody. So you can imagine the upheaval he suffered in his life.
Oh, yeah.
And he grew to be, he classes himself as a local now. And he said everybody made him welcome. And, you know, he got little jobs to do, and he made little bits of money from doing different jobs during the war. And, but yeah, VE Day is a very, very special day. I could say 1939-45 was a tremendously long time. And of course, they were still worrying about the fact that we were still at war with Japan as well. So some of the children who were celebrating, the families at the time, they didn't know if their loved one was still going to come home or not. And that's the thing that sticks in my mind. Although they were celebrating letting steam off that day,
it's still terrifying to know.
It's still terrifying to know that some of their loved ones were fighting the Japanese.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you know, Horrocks May, and they didn't stop till August. It was a relatively short time, I think. Obviously, the Americans dropped the atomic bombs and everything. But yeah, if you compare both times, I think the wartime and the way that the children were isolated and they didn't really live a normal life and things like that. And then you compare it to the modern kids, like I say, a few years ago, they were up against COVID, they were socially distancing and things like that. So they have got like a shared spirit between the both, I think.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, well, thank you for talking to Darren.
So you are listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. I am still here at the event, and I'm here with John Burrows, actor John Burrows, and former tutor at ATTFE, but now you work out in the Mansfield Palace Theatre mainly, but you're freelance as well, aren't you?
Yes.
And can you tell us why you are here today at the VE Day event?
I've been invited to be Winston Churchill for the day, so I'm going to be doing the famous kind of VE Day speech. There's a couple of speeches that have been mixed together. So yeah, it's wonderful to kind of act in my own town and to do something so important, the 80th anniversary, of course.
You are you are a Sutton resident.
I'm a proper Sutton lad, Carsick lad, absolutely. I'm one of the few Carsick actors. No, I'm sure there's more out there.
Okay, so I'm going to get your perspective on the VE Day. So I've got some questions here. As we gather in Ashfield today to mark 80 years since VE Day, what aspects of community spirit from the era do you think we should try to recapture in our local area today?
I think the incredible thing about World War II, in terms of what was happening in this country, is the reason why England kind of survived was everyone got stuck in, and everyone was willing to kind of do their part. So, you know, you had men overseas, but also taking on things like Home Front and things like that. Home Guard, sorry, not the Home Front, and stuff like that. And then you also had, you know, women working into factories because they'd not been given the opportunity before, which was absolutely abysmal. And children, you know, evacuating and also doing things. So everybody got stuck in. And I think that's something that we kind of lost a little bit. We're very much really bothered on what people aren't doing and what aren't committing to. And actually just having that ability to accept each other. You know, we're at a time where we're all going to have different views, we're all going to have different backgrounds, but really what's happening in a time where we are struggling as a community is actually we need to stop moaning and just get stuck in and do that thing, rather than going on Facebook and saying this ain't happening. Well, let's stand up and make it happen.
So it's as if division is something that's promoted, isn't it? It's like division. So we'll go. So you're Sutton born and bred. Have you got any connection to VE Day and the Second World War? So any family members or anything who maybe served?
So my grandparents did. So I didn't meet my maternal grandparent, but I met her stepfather, and he was a doctor during the war. I know my granddad was a tank driver during the war as well, and my granny, she had a shop that basically kept that shop running all the way through. So she was in her early 20s as it started. I don't know about my other grandparents, so they were all involved in it. And being a kid when I was at Carsick, which is Brierley Forest obviously now, when we did World War II in school, they kind of told me a lot of the kind of, not a lot I can remember now because there's a lot, but how they kind of lived with basically, my granddad probably told me far too many stories in terms of the things he saw as a doctor. Okay. And he was a Londoner, so he'd come up from London, so he'd had his family had experience of the Blitz and things like that as well. Whereas, you know, places like Sutton and Mansfield didn't really get hit. I know West Bridgeford got hit quite hard during the time, but
the wind's got on my eye there. Sorry.
No, that's all right. But yeah, so they were all involved. They didn't talk loads about it. I think obviously it must have been a harder time, but yeah, they were happy to kind of share what little they had, and I think and how they survived. And that's the other thing is, those times they really struggled. They didn't have a lot. And they made do and they made mend and stuff like that. So that was incredible. That, you know, it doesn't matter what happens, we can survive.
Okay. So thanks ever so much, John Jack Burrows.
John Jack
Burrows. Okay, so I bet you need to get ready now for
yes.
you to be on soon. So yeah.
Yes, we've got some weight to put on.
Hostilities officially end tonight at midnight, at 1 minute after midnight, on Tuesday, May the 8th. But in the interest of saving lives, a ceasefire was called out yesterday to be sounded out along the front. And our dear Channel Islands will be free today. My dear friends, this is not a victory of any party or any class. This is your hour. This is a victory of the great British nation as a whole. We were the first in this island to stand against the tyranny. And after a while, we were left alone against the most tremendous military power that had been seen. We were left alone for a whole year. And there we stood alone. But did anyone want to give in? Were we downhearted? The lights went out and the bombs came down, but every man, woman and child never had the thought of quitting the struggle. London can take it. And so, after the long months, we came from the jaws of death out to the mouth of hell, while all the world wondered, when will this faith and reputation of this generation of English men and women fail? We have emerged from a deadly struggle, and a terrible foe lies cast among the ground, awaiting our judgment and our mercy. Tomorrow we begin the work of rebuilding our hearths and our homes, doing our utmost to make this country a land in which all have a chance, in which all have a duty. And we must turn ourselves to fulfill our duty for our countrymen. Our gratitude to our splendid allies goes from forth of our hearts, from this island and throughout the British Empire. We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing, but let us not forget a moment for the toil and efforts that lie ahead. We must devote our strength and our resources to completion of the task at home and abroad. Advance Britannia! Long live the cause of freedom! And God save the King! Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Winston. What a fantastic performance. Put your hands together, please, for Sir Winston Churchill, also known as Jack Burrows, local actor and theatre producer. What a marvellous rendition. Thank you very much, Jack.
Okay, so we are here on Sutton Lawn for VE Day, and I'm here with Archie. Archie, we won't take your surname, Archie, but you've just been on stage, haven't you? Been on stage, and then you were playing the violin on the stage then?
Yes.
So how old are you, Archie?
13.
13 years older. So you don't remember the war, do you?
No.
So what does VE Day mean to you?
I mean, it's just kind of like when the war was won, really. When Germany was defeated, Germany surrendered.
It wasn't the end of the war, was it? Because there was still war happening in the South Pacific, wasn't there?
In Japan, yeah.
So have you fought through your family in this area there? Have you got any family members who were alive during the war?
I don't really think so. I mean, I definitely would have, yes, but like, I don't have any alive, I don't think.
So you're quite you're in touch with what's happening in the world at the moment then, yeah?
Yeah.
So why do you think it's important that for young people and the younger people who've been here today, what they remember VE Day and what the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice that so many British and people around the world made for the freedoms that we have today?
I think it's kind of important to like learn, because like you don't really want history to repeat itself, especially not World War II, especially the events leading up to that. Like they were just horrible, the things that happened before that, and then still while the war was going on. I feel like it's just important to not let history repeat itself and just teach them, hey, this is what happened. Do not like this, but we celebrate this because of we won, basically.
Lest we forget.
Yeah,
yes,
lest we forget.
Thanks ever so much, Archie.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Hello, I'm Mitchell Ramo Jenkinson with Takeover Radio. I'm here with...
Edwina Morris. I'm chair of the Royal British Legion in Kirkby, and I'm secretary of the Merchant Navy Association, Kirkby and Mansfield and Ashfield branch.
Okay, well, I've got a couple of questions here for you. The first one is, what's your personal connection to the VE Day, this VE Day celebration, and why did you feel it was important to come out and be part of today's community event in Sutton in Ashfield?
I come from Kent, from Medway, from Dockyard Town. I moved up to Ashfield 10 years ago and started the Merchant Navy Association with my partner. From then on, sorry.
It's okay, it's alright.
I was part of VE Day. I was 6 years old at the time, and my dad took us up to London to see the lights go on in London. So we went up to Buckingham Palace and Trafalgar Square. We also had a street party, and so I think what we're doing in Kirkby today is representing the street parties we had then.
Okay. Well, that leads on to my next question. Many streets in Sutton in Ashfield, Kirkby in Ashfield and Hucknall held street parties to celebrate VE Day in 1945. What do you think these celebrations meant to local people after years of wartime restrictions, and how does that compare to today's commemoration?
From those days, I mean, we didn't have anything, and we didn't have sweets, or for 6 years we just had a few, not very many sweets or anything.
So it's a lot more available now than back then.
They're a lot more available now, yeah, and people have got much more than we had.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to have clothing coupons and everything. But so to have the street party, my mum made all the jellies for the street.
Oh, that's lovely.
And it was really good. I mean, my mum was quite proud to be part of that. And also that lots of my friends or lots of the neighbours, dads hadn't come back from the war. So mum was one of those people going round, making sure that they were all okay. Also, that during the air raids, we had one of our part of our street was actually bombed.
Really?
So yeah, so there was only half of the street really left.
So half a street party.
It was half a street party, really. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite the event to go on the old street, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah. So it's a very memorial. It's a day to remember for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely compares very, very differently today from back then. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Very differently.
So differently. Yes. Yeah. I was also the first baby to go because I was born at the beginning of the war. I was the first baby to go in the gas mask. For babies, the ones that the baby is like a cradle.
Oh, like a little...
Yeah, I've got photograph of it.
Really? You do?
Yeah.
Well, you can show me after the
Yeah,
interview,
show
can't you? Right.
Yeah, I tested, Mum took me to, and I tested out the air, for the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
gas mask, really it was, but yeah, for babies.
For babies, yeah. Well, I think that is it for the interview. Well, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are here, Takeover Radio 106.9 for the VE celebration on Sutton Lawn, and I'm here with some veterans from Ashfield and local area here. Do you want to introduce yourself, guys?
Yeah, I'm Paul Godfrey, ex-RCT. I'm Darren Grafton, Worcestershire and Sherwood Foresters.
Peter Pasternicki from the 7th Royal Anglian.
Okay, so I'll ask you all a question each then. So I'll go to you first, sir. So as we gather here in Ashfield today to mark 80 years since VE Day, what aspects of community spirit from the era do you think we should try to recapture in our local area today?
We should make the children more aware of the history of our country. Although it's been a bit dicey at times, but it is important that we carry on tradition and teach the younger generation about the sacrifices that the greatest generation we've ever known went through.
Yeah, so true, so true. Thank you. Okay, so this one there, do you have any family members who lived in Ashfield during the wartime, and have they shared any stories about this? So we go to the last one then. So you're not from Sutton, are you? You're not from Sutton,
from
then?
Leicester.
Okay, what's your personal connection to this VE celebration, and why did you feel it's important to come out today and be part of this community event in Ashfield today?
My personal connection was my father. He was in the Polish Army during World War II. He fought at Monte Cassino, all around Middle East and all like that. And he was demobbed back into Britain. So it's very poignant that, celebrating the English history and what he did over there and everything like that. So it's very important.
Brilliant, thank you. So I'm going to put that question to you again. What's your personal connection to this VE Day celebration, and why did you feel it was important to come out and be part of this community event in Ashfield today?
Well, my dad fought in the Second World War, and my mum lived through it in Sutton, and I'm ex-military, so I always think it's very important to recognise all these events. I try to turn up to as many as I can,
And it's important as well because the Second World War started when tyrants rose and people followed them because they were disillusioned with things that happened in their country.
At the moment now we've got tyrants ruling the world, so it's the same thing again.
It's important for this younger generation who don't remember that.
Yeah.
It's important that we teach them about the things that happened in the past and make sure that they don't happen again.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
Really important. Okay, I was going to say thank you for your service, guys.
Thank
you so much for your service.
Thank you. No problem, mate. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Freya. We're Takeover Radio. We're at the VE Day celebration, and I'm talking to the High Sheriff.
Hello, I'm Ed Attenborough. I've just come into the role. Nice to meet you, Freya. And what have you got to ask me today?
Ashfield's mining communities played a crucial role in the war effort, providing essential coal for industry and power. As High Sheriff, how do you think this industrial heritage shaped Ashfield's wartime experiences differently from other parts of Nottinghamshire?
Well, Ashfield made a huge contribution to the war effort with mining. Obviously coal was the fuel and the power that powered all of the industry, the steel industry still does, and all of the other industries that were needed for the war effort to make the planes and munitions and everything else. So it was a key part of the heritage of this area, and the industrial heritage of this area is really, really important to the communities. You've got a long industrial history here, and I think that still runs through in the communities. It's a very strong sense of community here.
Thank you so much. Another question.
Yeah.
The textile industry in Sutton, Ashfield and Kirkby and Ashfield shifted to producing military uniforms and parachutes during the war. How do you see that spirit of adaptation reflected in Ashfield's modern day resilience and community identity?
Well, funny you should ask me that. Obviously, during the war they made parachutes, and then they went into textiles for stockings and things like that, and it was a huge textile industry in this area. Some of it obviously went. Courtaulds, which was the first synthetic textiles, survived, and is now Torre Textiles. And I visited that 2 weeks ago with Princess Anne, and the Torre have invested 85 million in producing modern textiles in that factory, technical fabrics. So the textile, although the coal industry's gone here, the textile industry is still alive and kicking, and it's wonderful to see.
Thanks ever so much, Ed.
It's a pleasure, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Oh, you say that, Freya.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Really nice to meet you.
And it's an absolute pleasure to meet you, Freya. Thanks very much.
So we are still here at the VE Day event on Sutton Lawn to celebrate the 80 years since VE Day, the landings at the end of the war in Europe. And I'm here with Principal from Sutton Community Academy, Lewis Taylor. So hi, Lewis.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I've got a few questions on here. So you're the principal of Sutton Community Academy, but what's your personal connection to this VE Day celebration, and why did you feel it was important to come out and be part of this community event in Ashfield today?
Yeah, so obviously being a principal of the academy, we're a community school, and obviously this is a fantastic community event put together in partnership with obviously colleagues in ATTFE. And actually a lot of our students here performing today, lots of the family from the community as well. So really important to come out and show our support for a community event, but also obviously being VE Day and 80-year celebration, personal connections in terms of people who've served in the armed forces, in terms of family members, etc. So yeah, quite a poignant day for myself, but what a fantastic day we've got here today, and just a huge thank you for everyone that's put it together and everyone that's attended.
Yeah. Thanks for your time. I know you're busy, you're getting on here, so thanks ever so much, Lewis. Thanks ever so much.
Appreciate that.
Enjoy
Thanks,
the rest of the day.
Take care.
Enjoy the flyover.
Wow, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
So we are still here at the VE Day celebration here on Sutton Lawn, and I'm here with Dale. I don't know your surname, Dale.
Grounds.
Dale, and you are the former chairman of Ashfield District Council,
am,
so
yeah.
which is, you said it is pretty much the mayor. Do they not have a mayor nowadays? Is that just the title?
So it's like boroughs and cities have mayors, districts have chairmen, but it's literally the same thing, just different titles.
And you still are a councillor of Kingsway in
Kingsway in
Kirkby
Ashfield. Yeah.
But you are also, we're not going to talk about all that stuff, you do, I've done some stuff with you, you do a lot of charity work, don't you, as well, as Spider-Man and as Superman,
Yeah.
So you go around hospitals and you read to the kids in the hospitals as Spider-Man and as Superman.
Yeah, so I visit the kids in hospital as a superhero. And I do all sorts really. I sit and play video games with them, we play board games, we sit and have a chat about life, just things that uplift them, because obviously they're in a dark place, they're in hospital, it's not very fun. I go in there, make the day a bit brighter, give them a smile, give them something else to think about rather than why they're in hospital.
And you've been doing that for quite a while now, haven't you?
10 years, yeah.
And we were at an event last year, and I was doing some Tai Chi stuff there, and you were showing me the film of you when you went to the garden party, and the king came to you, didn't he?
Yes. For some reason, the king saw me in the crowd, he came over and asked about myself, and I had a Spider-Man tie on, and he asked about that. So we got chatting about all the charity work that I do.
The king and fanboying out there. So I know you do a lot of work for charity. You did a charity boxing match. Was it earlier this year?
I've done a few now. The last one was November last year. I raised just over £2,000 for Enlighten the Shadows, which is a men's mental health charity. And during the training and everything, I carried a kettlebell and a chain which weighed about 12 kg around for a week, attached to myself. And that was to signify carrying the weight of mental health alongside your daily life. So I did that for a week, and that helped push a lot of awareness about mental health, and it raised £2,200 for the charity as well.
That's a lot. You do a lot,
and I won the fight with a knockout in the third round, which was fantastic.
I did see you before the fight, didn't he? And I said, are you going to go for it? And you said he was a friend of yours, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you weren't going to go for it like that.
No, so we trained together and we got matched up to fight each other, and we both gave it our all. I came out victorious.
You were training with Stuart Nubley, weren't you?
I trained with Stuart Nubley at Spartans.
Nubley.
Yeah.
I know he says Nubley, don't he? Stuart,
yeah.
Okay, so you do a lot of this work with children in hospitals, and we're celebrating the 80 years of VE Day. Obviously, they don't remember it. So why do you think it's important that we help them to remember things like this? The Tyrants Rose back in the 1930s?
Yeah, so obviously World War II and World War I was a very long time ago, so these kids don't have the memory of that, and the people that do have the memory of it are now unfortunately all passing away. So it's important that over generations we keep the memories and remember the sacrifices that the people made for our freedom. And it should be a strong message today with everything that's going off in the world. the world leaders should be thinking about what happened in World War I and World War II and thinking, we don't want this to happen again. We don't want millions of lives to be lost. Let's remember the sacrifices of them that did lose their lives in World War I and II, and let's not do it again.
Not make those mistakes again.
Yeah.
Thanks ever so much, Dale.
No problem.
Brilliant,
Thank you.
So you are still listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. We're here at the VE Celebration Day on Sutton Lawn, and we are eagerly waiting, anticipation the flyover from I think it's a Hurricane and a Spitfire. As you can hear the crowd, anticipation, you can hear the music in the background. So we are going to do a bit more waiting, and we'll try and get you some audio recordings of the planes coming over. So we're here with Veronica Pickering, the Lord Lieutenant of Nottinghamshire. Hi, Veronica.
Hello, everyone.
So we're here at this what do you think of the event today?
Oh, you know what? This is fabulous. It's so amazing to see all these people. I don't think I've seen such a crowd in a long time coming out to celebrate in this way. It's fabulous to see them all.
Brilliant. So
really lovely.
Got a few questions about VE Day.
Yeah.
So, as His Majesty's representative in Nottinghamshire, you maintain a connection between our country and the Crown.
Yeah.
How do you think the royal family experiences during World War II, particularly the late Queen Elizabeth, service in the Auxiliary Territory Service, resonates with people in Nottinghamshire both then and now?
I think her involvement then is what we're all marking today. It's that community engagement, it's that community spirit. Her part in doing her bit for her country is so important, and it's a great message to all of our community. We want to see more people volunteering, more people going out and doing more for their communities, whether it's in their streets, in their villages or their towns. So I'm super proud that she's left that legacy. Thank you so much.
She was a great lady.
Yeah, she was.
Thank you. So one more then, because I know you're a busy lady, you've got to shoot off there. As we commemorate this significant anniversary, what do you hope residents across Nottinghamshire, from Mansfield to Newark, Retford to Nottinghamshire City, will take away from the VE Day celebrations, and how might it strengthen our sense of county-wide community?
I think this is such a significant moment, especially with all the global issues that we're considering at the moment as well. I think most people should take away the thought that peace was hard fought, and it has to be hard fought even today. We need to maintain that community spirit because we need to be able to look after each other, especially when things are not going as well as we'd hope. So I hope today is another seal on that journey, that we bring people together, that we know who we are, we know what spirit we have, and we can recognise that resilience going forward. Thank you so much.
Thanks ever so much, Veronica.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Look after yourself.
Thank you. Okay, so you are still listening to Takeover Radio 106.9 FM. We're down on Sutton Lawn for VE Day. I'm here with three generations of family. So I've got Jason Dudley and
Tina Thompson
and John Faither. So John is just over 100 years old.
101 in July.
And you were part of the D-Day landings, I believe, at the end of the Second World War. Okay, so can you remember much about that time?
It's been absolutely amazing, celebrating 20 years since VE Day.
So what regiment was John in?
My granddad was a paratrooper, weren't you? And he was 20 at the time of the D-Day landings, and ended up staying here because he was one of the Polish regiments. He stayed in Nottinghamshire to work in the pits once he met my grandma.
So your grandma is from the UK then, yeah?
Yeah, she's from Nottingham, Kirkby. And they just celebrated their 75th wedding anniversary last year, didn't they? You and Stella last year. Yes.
Hey, hello.
So the cake that comes with it. So Jason, so you've got proud to celebrate on VE Day today. You've got your your granddad was helped to secure the freedoms that we enjoy today, yeah?
Extremely proud of you, aren't we, Grandad? Both of my granddads served. One was a tank driver, and this granddad was a paratrooper, as I say, fighting tyranny in the 30s and 40s. And I'm really pleased that you're here today to celebrate 80 years on. We're very proud of you.
Oh, I'm only little.
Only little, but you've done some great things for us then.
Oh, the things. Most after that, to be honest, come out of me, brain, everything.
Well, that's because you've lived a long life now. So
terrible, I tell you. If I can remember things, I'd be different altogether. But I've had that many bash. I've fallen down on floor. About 30 times I fall down. Bash my head and everything.
We think it's because he's a paratrooper that he's never broke anything when he's ever fell. You remember all that training, don't you?
Tuck and roll.
Yeah, that's it. So at 101 next month, that he can still fall over. It gives us a fright, but he's never yet broken anything. He's still got the bounce.
Hey, my nose is broke.
Oh, well, your nose, we'll let your nose off. That's it.
So, Jason, VE Day, 80 years. So it's important. There's a lot of conflicts happening in the world at the moment. Yeah. So it's important that we forget the things that happened during the last war there. And just like it's important. I'm trying to get my wording right here. But it's important that we don't see these things happening again. So why do you think it's important that these young people who this doesn't really mean anything to them? Why do you think it's important that we do help them? We let them remember what has happened.
I think it's really marvellous. Do you know what? It surprises me sometimes. It's only 80 years ago. It feels like it's such a long time ago. But like my granddad, it's in his lifetime. And I think it's dead easy for us to forget the atrocities, the hundreds of thousands, millions of people who lost their lives or were displaced across Europe, and how that division and hatred, which is spoke about now across the world, you know, with the hand of history on our shoulder today, it's very easy to forget the lessons that we should be learning from history. And it's great. It's a shame so many listeners can't see all the wonderful schools that are taking place today, all the young people that are learning about our history. Because in the world right now, there's a lot of division, there's a lot of hatred. It's very easy to point at people and say you're different to me, and I don't like that. But actually, what VED is amazing for commemorating is that peace and tolerance and coming together is much more important than ever the hatred can be. And I hope that the young people can take that message of hope and peace and brotherhood forward, so that we never suffer the atrocities we suffered in the 30s and 40s.
Yes. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, John. Thanks ever so much. Thank you. So, we're here. It's ATTFE VE Day event on Sutton Lawn. This is Takeover Radio. I'm here with Mark.
That's right, yeah.
Mark
McCourt.
And you are the new CEO of ATT.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so ATTFE have been setting this event up here. So have you been to any other events around ATTFE schools today, or is this?
No, this is my only one today. Obviously, we're spread across 10 local authorities, so there's only one that I can get to in a day.
Only one you can get around. Okay, so I've got a few questions there. So, how do you balance creating educational value around historical events like VE Day while also making the celebrations engaging and relevant to today's young people?
Okay, I think the relevance really comes from, even though this was a very long time ago, 80 years ago, and there are generations that have passed, the relevance comes from the values of that time. Like, the World War II was really a fight for democracy. It was a fight for our way of life, our way of being, and I think that values such as sacrifice, such as hope, such as patriotism, love, togetherness, I think they resonate with young people more strongly than any of us, actually. When you're a teenager, they are the things that really matter about belonging and being a community. And everything that we do at ATT, particularly the FE College, is really rooted in the community, really a part of not just the building and the hours that you can come into the college, but the whole part of the community all the time, being a part of it. So I think that's something that's very strong across our trust and what we do. We're not a building that you go to. We're an integral part of the community. And I know quite often people will think, an event that happened such a long time ago, can teenagers connect to that? But actually, I think when you talk to teenagers, their love of home, their love of place, their pride in who they are and where they are, resonates really strongly with them. Reminding them today, in days like this, reminding them that they have those privileges because really brave people stood up for those values is always a powerful thing to do. So,
yes. So true. That was a great answer, great son. So the next one, beyond the actual day of celebration on May the 8th, how do ATT schools integrate the themes of peace, you answered that a little bit there, peace, reconciliation and remembrance from VE Day in the broader curriculum throughout the academic year?
Okay, that's a really good question. So obviously, like every academy in the country, we have a course of British values, and we talk about British values a lot and what that means to us, but we also have personal education where we're talking about belonging and who you are as part of your community. We have historical curricula as well, obviously, and making sure that when we're teaching history, that it's not seen as a point in time, a thing that you look back to. That history is seen that the reason you think the things you think today, the reason you believe the way you believe and why you believe what you believe, that's based on where you came from. That's based on the history of who you are, who your parents were, who their ancestors were, how we got here today. So that even though this is a very specific event, celebrating 80 years since the end of World War II, it's just a reminder of that continuum. And I think that constant reminder through our curriculum of being rooted in a place, whether that's here in Ashfield or Clacton or Walsall or whichever academy you're in, being rooted in that place and being prepared to defend the values of that place. I think that that's writ large across everything we do. And without that, without that being rooted in the place, people won't then preserve that place for the generations in 80 more years. So I think it's a really important thing that our young people understand they are the custodians of what was won for them, so that 80 years down the line, people are remembering them.
And then they'll pass it on to generations coming through.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot.
Hello, I'm Mitchell Rama-Jenkinson with Takeover Radio. I am here with
Alex Peace-Gadsby. I'm Deputy Lieutenant for Nottinghamshire, and I'm also President of RBL for Nottinghamshire.
So I have one question for you. The Lord Lieutenant's role includes recognising exceptional service in the community. Over your tenure, have you met veterans or civilians from Nottinghamshire whose wartime experience particularly moved you? And what lessons might their stories offer to younger generations?
I'm very fortunate in my role, actually, because I get to meet lots of veterans, lots of civilians who've contributed in many ways to our community, including during the war. And that can be in my role as a Deputy Lieutenant or in my role as President of the Royal British Legion for the county. And there are so many stories and so many huge differences made. And what I find most interesting, actually, is including my own grandfather, who was a Royal Grenadier in the Second World War. And I always found, and I don't know if others find the same, that actually often people don't want to talk about the details of their stories because they don't necessarily want to share the horrors of those experiences and the sheer bravery. But he, for example, has always inspired me because he was actually part of the D-Day landings and went over there and was a tank driver during the war, was part of the liberation of Belgium and had gone through France as well. So, and I hear so many wonderful stories and so many inspirations from that. In terms of what can young people learn from that, I think nothing is more poignant than the time we're living in now. This is not meant in any political way whatsoever, because as Deputy Lieutenants we aren't political at all, but the landscape that we're living in at the moment, where we've got tragedy going on all over the world in so many spheres where there are acts of aggression, and I think it's so important that we remember our past and we learn from our past and we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. And I know we've got a younger generation that want nothing more than peace and to live in harmony, and I think we learn those lessons, we respect our veterans, we do all we can to honour the past and make sure that it never repeats itself.
All right, well, thank you. That was an amazing answer. Thank you for your time. I hope you had a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, and it's been an absolute pleasure and very exciting to see this Hurricane and Spitfire.
Oh, it was. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, I'm Mitchell Ramo-Jenkinson with Takeover Radio. I'm here with...
Cheryl Lacey.
All right, Cheryl, I have one question for you. What's your personal connection to this VE Day celebration, and why do you feel it's important to come out and be part of this community event in Ashfield today?
I was invited by Liz Barrett to come and join in this wonderful celebration. My father was part of the expeditionary force that went into Belgium in the 1940s, and he was lucky enough to come out of Dunkirk. So he was rescued from Dunkirk off the beaches. So I'm here to think about that, think about the community that actually supported those soldiers, all sorts of people, the land girls, the people in the factories, the miners, lots of people that we haven't thought about, and that is what this celebration is all about. We survived those awful years, and we want to say thank you.
Well, thank you for giving me this interview. What do you think to today's event as a whole? Like, is it a success? Just tell me what your thoughts are.
It looks amazing, and we're going to be one of the only 5 places in the country that's going to actually get the fly past. So we are very, very lucky. Amazing contributions from the young people, wonderful singing, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the afternoon.
Well, thank you. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you so much for the interview, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you've a Lucifer to light your fag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you're a Lucifer to light your fag, smile, boys, that's the style.
What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile.
So we are coming to the end of the VE Day celebration here on Sutton Lawn. It's been an amazing event from ATTFE, and I'm here with the compere from the event, Simon Martin.
Hello, good afternoon.
So have you had a good event there?
I think it's been absolutely fantastic. You could see the public response to the acts and the general schedule for the afternoon, and then also culminating in those planes coming over. Absolutely iconic. Amazing. The sound of the engines and all of that kind of thing, just amazing, and you could see people responding to that. So yes, I think it's been a good event because it's been an event for the local community, for local people, and they have obviously enjoyed it, and that's what matters.
It is brilliant. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.